What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Hey, guys. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? I'm Anthony.
I'm Manny. I am Sir Man of Arada.
And welcome back to a DCTV weekly recap. What's up, guys? I'm Anthony.
I'm Manny.
And we're back with another DCTV weekly recap.
Another one.
Boom. Episode 4, going through every show. Overall, we'll talk about it in a minute. We're going to jump right in.
Woo!
Talk about
Supergirl. Hey.
So, Supergirl this week, it's fitting that I'm talking about it because I actually really enjoyed this episode for the first time all season.
Yeah.
You know, there you go. We somehow have completely opposite opinions of Supergirl. What a good episode is and what a bad.
We'll get on the right page eventually. I don't know when, but...
No, I actually really enjoyed it. So it opens up with actually the scene from the pilot episode where she,
saves the plane!
Opens herself as Supergirl and she has powers and she saves the plane that Alex is on. And we have the point of view of another passenger on that same plane, on that same flight. His wife had an affair, so they got a divorce. He ended up getting disbarred from being a lawyer. So his whole life is just falling apart. And
Thomas Colville.
And then he's saved by Supergirl. And of course he gets the first glimpse of her without the costume.
Yeah.
Just very raw.
Yep, out the window.
Right, so now it jumps to present day. And what you pretty much find out is that he now runs a cult. A Supergirl cult, pretty much. But to him it is a legitimate religion, and it's a following that he truly believes in. And he mentions Ra, which is Krypton's god.
Yeah.
Very interesting dynamic, especially for Supergirl to realize, like, holy shit. Like, me saving people isn't really just a positive effect on people. It can create this kind of inadvertent result.
Yeah, because the whole cult is literally people that she saved.
Yes, and she even mentions, because her... Wynn and James go to one of these meetings, and she mentions, she's like, I remember all of them. I remember saving every single one of these people, except for Colville, because she didn't know he was on the plane, obviously. So, she tries to get him to disband the religion. And he just straight out says it, and he's like, is this a test? He's like, you're testing me, Supergirl. And like automatically he knows who she is.
Yeah, because she came to him as Kara.
Yes, she came to him as Kara, and he knows exactly who she is anyway. But you can tell that the cult is dangerous because one guy starts a fire at a plant.
That's putting it lightly. He burned down a whole fucking building.
Yeah, just so that he could be saved by her.
So that he could be initiated into
that's like the
cult,
initiation of the cult.
Okay, sure.
So right away you know that there's like very, very severe negative repercussions of this cult. It's not just
way more intense than
it's not just an innocent following,
No. There's pamphlets, guys. There's pamphlets. That's when you know it's real. There's fucking pamphlets.
And he actually has, what you find out, a probe, a type of probe from Krypton that landed on Earth. And it's pretty much when they put information of their planet in a pod and send it out to space so that other races can know about Krypton and their culture.
Yeah, how he obtained it and how he knows how to work it, I have no fucking idea. Just
no clue.
Hey guys, let's just fucking do it. It's happening. You know why? Because we said it.
But it's just funny that all these things conveniently land on Earth. Because it is like
in that specific city.
Yeah, of course. Which we'll also get to something about a specific city in Arrow when we get there.
Okay.
Yeah, but
let's do it.
When the time this comes. Very convenient thing of everything always lands around them.
Yep.
Or happens around them. But, so this probe, this pod, he can also detonate? I believe it was something that, like, it can explode if the...
Who cares?
If the energy signature gets too high. So he, of course... And he moves it from his warehouse or wherever he had the meetings that looked like AA
facility.
Meetings. Yeah.
Sure.
He moved it all the way, got it through... people through everything into the stadium.
It's all right.
Into the stadium where they're having their hockey match.
Yeah.
So there's like thousands of people, of course, in attendance, tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And he has it in the basement, like ready to explode.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when Kara gets there, she gets hit with kryptonite.
Because there's kryptonite inside of that.
Well, there's Krypton soil.
Yeah, inside
which then turned
into kryptonite inside that machine. So she's like, if I'm such a god, why am I bleeding? And then it's just like, and the guy's like,
impossible.
You're Jesus.
And then the second that happened, every cult member just dipped.
They were like, yo, you know what? Oh shit, she's fucking bleeding, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
That's it.
What are we doing? Bye. Like, literally, it was hysterical. They were shitting their pants when they saw that she bled. They were like, oh, this is not... I did not sign up for this bullshit. Sweetie. Adios. Like, she just chucked it. They just chucked the deuces and got the fuck out of there. It was hysterical.
So, Alex then arrives at the scene to help Kara, and they pretty much... Kara used a heat vision to burn a hole in the ground. Deep, deep in the ground.
Deep.
That does come up again as importance in a minute. So then Alex and Koval push the pod into the hole, and it explodes. So everyone's saved. He goes to jail, but she visits him in jail, and he still truly believes in this religion. He believes in Supergirl. And of course he said, he'll keep her secret safe because he realizes that even gods can lose their way. Which I believe is something that Rao also said, or something like that. So he said, I will pray to you, but I will also pray for you. And he kind of, he didn't directly relate it to Mon-El,
right?
But he mentioned, there's no life in your eyes. Like, there's a dullness to you. There's a loss to you.
Which is what we've seen all,
right, which is obviously, as viewers, we know it's the loss of Mon-El she's been dealing with since the season started. But yeah, so that wraps up the Supergirl segment pretty much of this episode. I'm gonna break it up into chunks. Now we move on to the Samantha and Ruby segment of the episode, or the chunk. I love Samantha. I think she's doing a fantastic job.
Her transformation into Rain is something to watch. Like, it's very enjoyable, and she's having these visions now where, there was a scene where she was in her bathroom, and all of a sudden she had all these tattooed symbols across her face, arms, what have you, and she sees somebody in a hood, basically, to paraphrase, saying your time is coming, and she's like, what's going on?
And also,
she's scared. She doesn't know what the hell's going on.
And again, we got that demonic face on the cloaked woman.
Yeah, and she doesn't know what the hell's happening. She's completely oblivious.
I love Samantha's run right now.
Yeah.
Especially the dynamic of her being a single mom and running Elcor.
Yeah, because she's a strong, independent woman.
Right. In fact, they even make mention that she was able to hold off Edge.
Yeah.
From ruining the merger that she was dealing with. So she can really hold her own as a quote unquote CEO or running Elcor.
And just a human being in general. She's the real deal.
I'm not loving Ruby. Her daughter I'm not loving because her daughter's supposed to be 12. Yeah. But I feel like they're writing her like she's 5. Walking into the carnage that Sai was causing a couple weeks ago just so her mom could save her.
Yeah.
And now, at 12, look, my brother's only 14. 2 years ago, he was 12. He didn't think like Ruby. At 12 years old, well enough to say, my mom is running this major, major company.
Yeah, it's not like she's working a minute job of any... she's running a company.
Yeah. It's not like she's abandoning Ruby just to go hang... bang some guy that she just met, she's
or just go out
avoiding her daughter.
Yeah, no, she has legitimate responsibilities to put food on the table, to make sure that everyone's living. To make sure that they're living comfortably and securely. Because you know what, they have a big ass fucking house.
They do. They
have a humongous house. And that doesn't come from just oh, you need me? I'm here. Whatever you need. Yeah, work and go fuck itself. No.
That's the thing.
She needs to answer the calls. She needs to be the badass woman that she is. She needs to take care of business, fend off Morgan Edge, do whatever the fuck else her job requires. Because guess what? You like the food that you're having. You like all the space. You like being able to move around because there's so much room in your fucking house. Well, guess what? That comes at a price. Jesus Christ, Ruby, get it together, girl. Come on.
But just the fact of you have seen this issue in shows before. Parent works too much, they're not around.
Of course.
But I feel like it works better in all those other instances because it happens over a stretch of time. They establish, my father's been working like this for years and he hasn't been around. He's missed birthdays and holidays and my mom missed my graduation.
Yeah.
They establish it's been happening for a very long time, and this is just a straw that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah.
With Ruby, Samantha just got this job at the beginning of the season, which was only in Showtime and real time 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So what is it, a month she's been working this job, and Ruby's like a brat.
Yeah.
You know, like she's
a little
answering
bit.
calls and she has to go to a meeting and Ruby's like, but Mom.
Yeah, she doesn't
Like,
understand.
said you'd help me with my song. You promised. And it's like, shut up, kid.
although she does have pipes on her. She can sing. She sung at her talent show.
Which proves that she didn't need Samantha's help anyway.
She sung at her talent show, which is a pretty good segue because the way that she just absolutely bodied it in the best way possible kind of brought up some emotions that were being ignored by Alex internally.
So now we get on to the Alex Maggie chunk of the episode. So they weren't in it a lot, obviously.
No, there was just a little sleepover that was going on at Kara's house.
Yes.
Where they had Lena, Kara, Samantha, Maggie, and Alex.
Yes. And of course they're just talking, and they're talking about, like, Lena's bringing up, like, oh, this guy, and they're just telling stories of their past, like, funny things, and then talking about children. And Alex pretty much says, yeah, we're not going to have any, because Samantha assumes that they are.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, after Ruby sings, Alex just runs out of the auditorium, and Kara follows her. And just innocently asks her what's wrong, and this was a amazing scene by Alex.
Dude, Shyler Leigh, amazing. Like, absolutely incredible scene that she did. Like, she didn't overdo it. She didn't underdo it. It was the perfect amount of emotion.
You know what it was, too?
Oh,
there was an actual...
It.
I mean, like, you could see the build-up.
Yeah.
Because she started, like, she wasn't crying at all.
So well written, though.
She wasn't crying at all.
But so well written.
Yeah, of course. She wasn't crying at all. And then, like, the tears started to come. And by the end of it, she was in hysterics. And, like, it didn't just hit you like she's hysterically crying when she turns around. Mm-hmm. It was a build-up, and that worked so amazing.
She conveyed it so well.
Great scene.
Oh, that was my favorite scene of the episode.
Yes, absolutely.
That was my favorite scene of the episode.
It hit exactly where it was meant to. Because she explains to Kara, like, she wants to experience everything that a mother experiences with their child. And then she runs down a whole list, like... Bring them to soccer and, be at their plays and talk about boys. All these different things about being a mother to her child. And she's really torn apart because she loves Maggie to death. Mm-hmm. And she wants to spend her life with her, but she also really, really wants to be a mom.
Yeah, then this is just leading up to their inevitable downfall because obviously everyone knows that Maggie, the actress who plays her, is not going to be... obviously in the show for the rest of the season.
I actually thought she wasn't going to be in it from the beginning. I misunderstood, obviously, that she wasn't going to be in it the whole... Like, she didn't return for this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know I've been on and off the Alex Maggie train, but this hurt me.
Yeah.
This hurt me to see happen, because I know what it's leading up to.
Also, all aboard then, I guess, for you.
Yeah,
you're on it.
I mean...
You're on it.
Yeah, I'm on it right off the cliff when
you're
they
on it.
up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like the rest of us. Congratulations. Welcome.
I got back on just in time.
We've been waiting. Oh, great.
But yeah, I mean, amazing performance.
What I will say is that what I did like about the villain wasn't as cut and dry as normal, just because of the fact that it involved faith.
Yes.
And this is actually finally something that is much bigger than some. This is bigger than what Kara can just punch in the face.
I was just gonna say this wasn't a villain she could beat with a fist.
Yeah, exactly. This is something much bigger than her, and it's continuously growing. So I think that it's gonna play a bigger role in going forward. I could be wrong in the season, but yeah.
But like just the overall dynamic of the episode was so different from a lot that we've seen through all 3 seasons so far. Excuse me, and I think it worked so well, and especially at the end, like having those moments of every person that you saw in the episode, and they played it over Hallelujah, worked so well. Oh
Classic.
My God,
Classic.
But it ends very abruptly with that 22 hours ago.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. So what happens is they jump back to when they threw the pod into the ground. And when it exploded, it shook the earth even more. And that ship that we saw by the waterfront in the first episode shakes again. And this time, one of the pods inside malfunction, and whoever's inside wakes up.
A hand moves.
Hits the glass, actually. Yeah.
You see a hand move.
Who's that? We have no idea. How many other people are on that ship? We have no idea. What's the intention of the ship? No clue. So a lot of intrigue in those closing seconds.
Yeah,
of the episode.
a lot of things to be explained and delved into going forward for sure.
Yes. But as we move from Supergirl, we move on to
The Flash. Okay, so this was honestly my favorite episode of the season so far.
Okay.
For Flash, not to say the other ones weren't good. I just really enjoyed the dynamic here. And what I loved was they brought back a classic hero. A classic hero who's in the Justice League that doesn't get a lot of shine. Mr. Ralph Dibny, a.k.a. Elongated Man, was in this bitch. And I loved it so much. But, before we do that, let's start with Cisco and Gypsy.
Yes.
So, we're trying to find out what Gypsy's actual name is. Because Cisco was like, we're in that three word love, like that 3-word phrase part of the relationship. She was, oh, you think I love you? No. What's your name?
Which is funny because this whole time I'm like, oh my god, that's right. He doesn't know her
name.
Yeah,
exactly. And the best thing was that they got Danny Trejo, who's like a
humongous
actor.
God.
Mr. Machete himself was in. I mean, come on, what a great casting.
Oh my god.
Right? Come on.
Especially just for the role that he had to play.
Dude.
He had to play that like unapproving father.
Yeah, his deadpanning, he brought the character to life. He plays Breacher, and he's just basically like, so alright, so you know how Gypsy's like running game, trying to like make sure that she finds people who are on the loose or whatever. Turns out the father is the boss.
Yeah.
He's the one that's telling her, go get this motherfucker, go get that person. They're bad. You need to bring them back to me so that I can shit on them. Like, that's literally what it is. So she works for her father, and in the sexiest way possible, she's in her shirt, and she's like, Cisco, you better not have clothes on when I come back. Damn, Gypsy, you bad as fuck. And like, just as she goes, and he's just like, okay, guess who comes through? Breacher. And he's like, you better put that erection down, you son of a bitch, because you are not doing that to my daughter. I'm going to kill your ass right now. So Cisco's trying to get the approval of her father for basically the entire episode. He even goes as far to say, I'm going to fucking hunt you like a deer.
Yeah.
Because this is what I do to anybody that's interested in my daughter because no one's worthy of her. And Cisco's like, isn't that kind of her job and her decision? And he's like, no, it's mine. Fuck you. So he's shitting a brick trying to hide from him this entire time, but he uses his brain, and eventually he shows that he will do anything for his friends and even, have himself risk his own life, and that gains the respect of her father. He doesn't fuck with him still, but he's like, you know what, I at least respect you, and that's good enough. So, now what we will do is we will go into, Barry has a past with this person as well. Ralph Dibny. He is a fallen officer. Detective even, right? It turns out that he framed somebody who they didn't have exact evidence, like this man whose wife died, and he actually planted evidence to have this man convicted. He ends up saying that it really was the guy, but he was just trying to do the right thing. But Barry went over the forensics. This was about a year or two into Barry's job.
Yeah.
So this is when he was like a rookie still, basically. And Barry wanted to examine the evidence more, and he, just because of how his mother was stabbed to death and everything, so it was kind of like a complexity thing. And he found that Ralph planted it. So he ended up reporting that in and got Ralph lost his job because of it. And he lost everything because of Barry. And he blames Barry for everything. So it turns out that not only was that the case, but Ralph was on that bus where the dark matter dispersed when Barry came out.
Yep.
So, he has some people that are after him because he's actually blackmailing the mayor, who seems to be up for re-election, and he seems like be like a good dude. Like, alright, not too bad. Turns out he's the guy that's hiring all these henchmen to try and fuck with Ralph and kill him. They're hanging Ralph off the roof, and Ralph is like, alright, fine, just don't drop me. Then all of a sudden his legs start extending all the way to the point where he actually goes all the way down the building. And you're just like, what is that?
I really loved when they got him back to Star Labs, and he's just a rubbery mess.
Going from room to room, and Joe just vomits.
That was the best. And he goes, 4 years of seeing this, and I finally
threw up. And it's true, because, there was a point where when he sneezed? And his mouth just, went all over the place.
His face, melted off.
Yeah, it was a little disgusting to see. But, Caitlin, of course, whipped up something real nice, because Killer Frost still got the scientific methods in her. And, he drank something that basically ended up letting his body regulate. So he had a gut. That's gone, because he can actually, it's like muscle memory now. So if he wants to give himself, his old abs, he's like, I'm good to go, let's do it.
Pretty much this is the origin of his power. He wasn't able to control it. He was just a stretchy mess.
Yeah.
And now he's able to control it and
to a certain degree. Yeah. Exactly. So Barry's trying to convince him, you know what? Prove to me that you're not this awful human being that plants evidence, that does all this shit. Prove to me that you're a good person, that you can actually be a hero. Because this whole episode, Barry has him planned as a villain. And that's it.
Yes.
He's like, case closed, people don't change. That's just what it is. But, so it turns out Ralph was blackmailing the mayor. and because he had him for an affair, and he had some photos. He's giving the mayor these photos in exchange for money, but instead he tells the mayor, hey, you know what? Keep the money. Think of it as just like good faith.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. I don't want to be this guy. So it's like, okay, he's making a turn, but the mayor still wants to kill him. So Flash comes through and tries to save the day.
Well, first, don't forget, he did shoot him in the face.
He shot Ralph in the face, but guess what? With that rubber, bullet booger. What the fuck? So his words, not mine. And
minus the what the fuck part.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, he's using these powers, and the fact of the matter is that he's still getting used to them. So he doesn't have full control. He doesn't know what severity he can do, with what he has. But Flash tries to save him, and at the same exact time, you see Breacher come into play because he recognizes Ralph as one of the Plastoids who helped. What was it, destroy? The
Plastoids are like the race that invaded his Earth.
Yeah,
that pretty much made it in the destructed state that it is.
Yeah, the dystopian whatever the hell that it is right now, where they don't even have coffee and everything's sad, which is why his face is just permanently like. So. He tries to get revenge on Plastic Man, and it's like, hey, come on, this guy's not
elongated man.
Elongated man. We're gonna get to that. What's it called? So Cisco comes in and is like, yo, don't do anything. This is my boy. I'm willing to risk my life, and that's when he gains the respect. But also, what they have to do is they have to catch the mayor. He's in a helicopter now, and
with Joe.
Yeah, with Joe as hostage. And Barry tells Ralph, "This is your chance right here. Prove to me that you are becoming a decent human being." So, a really cool scene.
But don't forget, Barry did the whole...
Yeah, of course.
Barry Allen.
Of course. Because, everyone always says to Flash, how can I trust you? And of course...
The only way he
can ever gain their trust is, well, everyone else knows. It's me! Fucking Barry Allen! What up?
Which is just so amazing that he still did not tell Patty Spivot he was the Flash.
But everyone else
can know. But to the very
end, a woman that you sleep with at night.
Even when she pretty much said I know, and he's like,
no, you don't know anything.
What are you talking about?
Get out of here, Patty, you silly little woman.
Come on.
Jesus Christ.
She really got the shit into that stick.
I know, she really did.
And there's one person on the planet who can never know he's the Flash. It's Patty Spivot.
She was so fucking amazing and smart, and he couldn't just throw her a fucking bone. Really? Come on, Barry.
But Ralph Dibny, who you fucking hated.
Yeah.
And now you're just like, how can I trust you? Because I'm Barry.
It's me. Let's do this shit. You ready? Cool. Come on, Barry. Fucking A. So, it did lead to a pretty cool scene where you had a elongated man take his arm, fling it super, into the sky, basically, catches the helicopter.
I have to know.
Right?
He catches the helicopter, and the helicopter jams it gets caught,
yeah.
But shouldn't he have just gone with the helicopter? You're still just human. How are you holding a helicopter back like Captain America?
It's, I don't know. It's
right. I was like, what?
Flash logic. It's so, but what was cool though was to see that whole thing because before anything happened, I was like, if Barry better run on that fucking arm. I was like, if he doesn't run across that arm, I'm shutting this off right now. And he did. He literally ran up the arm to the helicopter, which is a really cool scene. Disarmed the mayor. I mean, the big bad wasn't that big of a deal. It was the mayor. It wasn't that great. But the episode itself, I thought, provided a good amount of levity, and turns out Ralph is actually part of the Thinker's plan as well.
Yes, in fact, this is the first time you really hear the Thinker's name, and Barry's able to remember what he heard from last season, where Dibny says, "Hey, some guy was on the phone, and he only gave me his name, DeVoe." And boom, Barry gets
those memories.
The visions from Abracadabra and Savitar of talking about DeVoe. And he's like, holy shit.
And he goes, that name means something to you? What was really cool was a quick thing was when Barry's like, you need to come up with a name for you. What about Plastic Man? And he goes, it's a stupid name. Meanwhile, obviously, O'Brien. You think of O'Brien because obviously there's two different people that had similar powers. You have Plastic Man, who's the sillier version of Ralph Dibny.
Right.
But now he's gonna go by Elongated Man. And this was just really cool, just because I was waiting for Elongated Man for the longest time.
I know you were. I know, definitely.
And in season 1, I believe they actually said that Ralph Dibny died.
Really?
Yeah, there was a reference. I think in the pilot, actually, they said Ralph Dibny died. So they just retconned that apparently. I mean,
I might actually go back and
check it. I'm pretty sure that they said his name, and I was like, oh, he's dead. But,
no elongated man.
No elongated man. But I guess they kind of like retconned it. I mean, if I'm wrong, obviously just shout at me in the comments. It's fine. I can tell you, I got thick skin. It is what it is.
Funny closing to the episode. Cisco and Gypsy saying goodbye. Breacher, approves. He says I still hate you.
Yeah, but I respect you.
Right. But I still hate you. And he gets an alert that there's, like, a really severe, illegal breach going on. He's like, we have to go, Cynthia. Boom. There it is. Gypsy's real name is Cynthia.
That's not all we find out.
Funny scene. Cisco's like, well, what's your name? And in the most serious, angry face,
Josh.
He's like, Josh. Which is, like, one of the most innocent names you can have.
Yeah. Yep. And then you find out, so it's Cynthia and Josh.
Yeah.
And he's like, how am I supposed to be scared of that? And she's like, oh, I'll make you scared.
So he's still going to call her Gypsy, though.
Still going to call her Gypsy, yeah. Smart man.
Yeah.
Smart man. Overall, I really love the episode. I thought it was like really cool. They had some really they had some character growth, and I like that they furthered the plot finally with the Thinker a little bit by using Ralph Dibny. Ralph Dibny being introduced.
And now the fact that Barry actually knows kind of who he's up against. Because now he never knew before.
Yeah, now he
knows it's DeVoe.
Exactly.
But with closing with the Flash, we open
Legends.
So Legends this week is all about the closing segment of last week's episode, finding Ray as a child talking to these mystery eyes
in Ivy Town.
And what happens is he's dead. Ray is dead as
killed.
A child.
Gets killed.
He gets killed as a child.
by
yes, I don't remember his name, but it is pretty much the Men in Black that we met in the crossover with the Dominators.
Yeah, guys, you remember
the same
that
guy with the glasses?
Yes, with those infamous glasses from that crossover where they showed the young version and the old version in the present. That same man is the one that murders Ray Palmer.
Yes, so he is actually in this episode playing the main villain, trying to kidnap what we find out Ray's new friend, a baby Dominator that he named Gumball.
What?
So they go back to that day to try to prevent it from happening. Of course, it's Halloween. The episode premieres on Halloween, and they go to Halloween, and pretty much the whole episode was just about Ray being able to revisit his childhood and hear some things from his mom that he didn't originally hear.
Well, more than that, it was also actually... Alright, so we all know that Ray has this positive outlook on everything, right? Like, I mean, Brandon Routh was a great Ray Palmer.
Yeah.
And he's always, like, so optimistic, and everyone's basically saying, like, you always think like this? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I've always thought like that. But you see that it wasn't more so that, like, he was just like, oh, everything's always grand and joyful, and that's just the way it is. He learns himself that it wasn't that way. Right. It was just, he used it more so as a coping mechanism for the fact that he wasn't able to assimilate with the rest of the kids his age, right. Really. He didn't have friends.
Even when he was being bullied, he was like, no, they're just my friends. They're just playing with me.
And then you hear them say, I can't believe he thinks that we're his friends.
Right. And I felt for him, But you do get to revisit those things. And then when they try to get the Dominator back, Nate and Amaya go in as, like, animal control. And they're talking to his mom, who Nate says, wow, your mom's hot.
Yeah. Nate tries to put it on Mama Palmer.
And she talks to them a minute about, like, him bringing home strays, and that must be what it is. And she talks, and kind of, he hears these opinions from his mother for the first time. And it hurts, because he's like, she always said she liked my inventions or my projects and stuff like that. So it was a chance, even with his positive outlook, it was a chance for him to kind of, like, go back and look over the aspects of his childhood that he kind of saw a different way.
He was getting a reality check.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
now that he's older and wiser, he's not a child anymore, he's able to look back on those childhood events and memories and kind of say, oh, well, maybe it was this other way. Which was interesting for his character, especially since he's kind of fell in the background for a lot of what's going on. He's just that other character. Like, yeah, okay, he's part of the team, he can shrink. Yeah. Like, this was an episode where it focused on him.
Yeah, and I like that it showed, like, dimensions to him where, instead of just having it be assumed that, like, he's always just thinking, oh, I'm so optimistic. It was actually for a different reason.
Right.
Than you might, than instead of just for the fact, like, oh yeah, I always thought this way. It was like, no, you thought this way because you needed to, or else you would have just been very upset at the way life was.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was really cool. I mean, dude, there was just so many cool things though. Like we had the Mominator,
Yes.
the Mom Dominator coming out here trying to find her son and trying to find her baby, and she fought Sarah.
Yep.
She fought Sarah.
Yeah,
she
she fought
spun
Sarah.
her up in a little web, put her hand on the head, found out where exactly that child was, and she was like, "Oh, there is gonna be some hell to pay."
And then we actually get Dominator versus Maya, who channels the spirit of a bear to fight her, but not before she takes the form of Ray's mother and makes out. Yeah, she seduces and makes out with Nate. When he finds out it was a Dominator, he's like, "I kissed a Dominator, and I liked it. I liked it."
Sorry, I had to do it.
But yeah, interesting episode, and of course, again, it focused on Ray, and then eventually him and Zari go to their base to rescue Baby Ray and Baby Dominator.
And they're riding on bikes.
Well, that's when they escape.
When
but
they
first,
escape.
They have their dynamic because now Ray is actually able to interact with his childhood self.
Yeah, because he doesn't know who he is.
And he's kind of giving him like tough love. You know, like stop thinking everything is okay. Stop thinking optimistically.
And that's because of the way that he's seeing it as an adult now.
Right. You know, he has that positive outlook, but now he's actually trying to tell his childhood self to stop thinking so positively. You know, not everything can work out the way that you want.
Yeah.
But of course, in this specific scenario, it does. Because the Baby Dominator, uses his mental ability to take over the Men in Black, including the guy in glasses.
Yep.
And make them all sing, "Good morning, good morning."
Yep, because
it's great to stay up late.
Because Ray showed this.
They were watching the movie, Singing in the Rain.
Yeah, and they both enjoyed it, and they were just like all bopping and moving with it. So he found it so alluring.
And
wanted to incorporate it right there.
What adult Ray was saying was that, like, you don't understand, like, it's dangerous.
Yeah,
the Dominator can kill us all. Yeah. But Baby Ray saw the good and the innocence in the Baby Dominator, and it panned out to work. You know, that it was more on Ray's side and a good person, a good alien.
Yeah.
You know.
So after they escape, they're on bicycles, and as we know, Zari's totem has the ability to create somewhat of a tornado, a wind, a gust that can.
Right? Does she channel weather like a Maya's channels animals?
We're still trying to figure out. We don't know the extent of her powers
right.
yet. She doesn't even know the extent of her powers
True.
yet. I'm sure that's going to be explained later as the season progresses. But there's a scene where where Baby Dominator is in Ray's backpack in a basket. Sound familiar on a bike? Maybe. So they're riding and they want to make this leap. So Zari uses her freaking totem to create a little wind to pull them up over the moon, guys. Say it with me. E.T.
Yep.
I thought that scene was fucking amazing.
The second they got the bikes, I was like, they're gonna do E.T.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Like if you watched that and it didn't bring a smile to your face, I'm so sorry that you can't enjoy anything in life. I'm so sorry. It's very unfortunate for you. But for the rest of us, fucking loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
It was absolutely great.
So,
he even stuck his head out and everything of the backpack. Like, oh, yes.
They end up returning the Baby Dominator to the Mominator. And they leave. And then I feel bad because Ray was like, but Baby Ray, he's like, no, I'm good. You know, I have friends now, and I have this. And then right after that, Zari's like, we're out!
Yeah.
We gotta go!
But not before doing one last great gesture.
Yes, and really, really cool.
All dressing up in their own costumes that they fight in and going out with him for Halloween.
Yes.
Just so that any bully that gave him any kind of shit whatsoever sees who his real friends are, and they're like, I'm not fucking with Ray.
Not to mention, we get to see, which I believe is going to be her outfit, or maybe just a nod to her comic book outfit.
Yeah.
Zari came out in
that was definitely a nod.
Yeah, the white and gold costume.
Because in the comics, she plays a very controversial named thing, ISIS, which they're not going to go near for obvious reasons, given the current state of the world right now. Yeah, understandable. But yeah, so that was the outfit that she wears in the comics, but I don't think they're gonna.
Right, it was a nod to, but it was a nod to say like that was her comic book, a next reference.
Great and a great excuse to do that. Yeah,
absolutely.
I thought it was a great episode. Yeah. I mean, this show just continues to impress me. It gives you everything. I can't ask for anything else from them, honestly.
And as we close out with Legends, we move on to Arrow. Well, technically, right now we have to go Arrow with the crossbow.
Okay, so this was kind of like I've been loving the way the season has gone so far, but this episode was kind of just like for me, to be honest. Really? Okay, so Kate and James, does the name ring a bell? Last season, Kojo Sledgehammer, aka Elena, had Felicity help Helix break out Caden James because he was held in an Argus facility, without due process, and they had him in like a storage unit and all this other shit. So if you remember, she went against her own team to break him out as a deal for quid pro quo for Helix. Now we finally get to see this man's face, and turns out that Argus really broke the guy to a certain severity where he just feels like, I'm gonna take over the internet, and on top of that, I'm gonna kill 300 million people, and I'm not gonna give.
He pretty much wants to see the world burn at this point.
Yeah, and they don't really stipulate why exactly that is. Just the fact that Argus broke him.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what that has. Argus can break a lot of things. That doesn't mean the person's automatically gonna be like, the world should pay for this. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you want revenge against Argus? But okay, I'm gonna digress. So now basically, Elena and Felicity are trying to remedy their original mistake by having him freed because he hit her, right? He hit Kojo because she had that black eye.
Yeah.
And she said that's where it came from him. So lo and behold, now he has help. And who did he have help from? Black Siren.
We also find out that he is the mystery person who saved her from Lian Yu.
Yes. After
the island exploded.
Yes. He makes mention of that, saying yo, saved your life, you do what the fuck I want. So, she is murdering boring people. And you might ask why she's murdering boring people. It's because they all have a certain amount of access to the interweb.
Their life was boring on purpose.
Yes.
It was pretty much like a cover-up or an alias to say that they were ordinary people who could blend in the crowd.
Yeah, and they needed their fingerprints. So she was taking fingerprints after she murdered whoever she was with. And what they were using was they were going into this thing called the Vault, which is basically the holy grail for where all the internet is.
And that's what I was saying to lead back to Supergirl, everything happening in the area. It just so happened that the Vault, which holds the main core of how the internet runs, is either in or near Star City. Just so happened to be that way.
Yes.
What?
Sure. What was cool was the fact that Oliver, because everyone was out on the field during this whole time trying to stop this from happening, right? So while this is going on, Oliver's actually in the Overwatch chair. And he's like, I need a little bit of a learning curve, because he was sending... Because they have these armed guards, and Felicity needs to get to a certain room in order to disarm this firewall that James put up. And in order to do this, Oliver's like, go left. Oh, you know what? It's actually right. Sorry, I know. But
it was nice to see because, obviously, ever since he gave up the mantle, he has been living a quote unquote normal life,
and that's the safest thing for him right now. For him to be in the bunker.
But the thing is that it was interesting to see now to really delve into it and see his point of view. He's on a date with Felicity, she's got to run.
Yep.
He's ready to talk to her again. She's got to run,
yep.
or things like that, and it's more where he feels like, wow. This is what it's like when I ran out on other people all those times. This whole time. We really got to see what it was like from his point of view.
Exactly. And, really, what everyone else was going through when he was the one that was like, I have to leave. So that was cool. That was like I said, what I will give them credit for is that they really are making sure that they use, that they get the full-fledged use of Oliver not being part of the team.
Yes.
They're making you're really he didn't get a lot of screen time this episode.
Right, exactly.
It was more Definitely. So it was just Team Arrow because it's guess what, motherfucker,
which I like that they're really committing to.
Yeah,
where it's he's not the Green Arrow. Let's keep his ass off screen for
exactly.
a while. I mean, he did have that moment where he thought he was saving Felicity.
Yeah. At the club when she was with Elena. Yeah.
Right.
But overall, it's more you're not Green Arrow anymore. Step aside. Let's focus on the team.
Yeah, and they did a great job, and like I said, they committed to it, which I was really, really happy with.
Yeah.
It wasn't hey, he's not Green Arrow anymore, but he's going to still be kicking as much ass and having as much time, and no, he's not Green Arrow, he's in the background, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, so we find out, obviously, the main villains get away, but they stop the whole thing from going on, really.
But at the same time, it seemed that was their plan.
Yeah, because James here says that he didn't want to get his hands too dirty. He didn't want a certain firewall to break down that Felicity managed to break down herself. He said,
right. So now her digital fingerprints on that system saying that she took down the firewall.
Yeah, because he said I don't want my hands in that. He's so I learned to have other people do my dirty work.
Which I feel is that leading to Felicity is going to be investigated
Could be.
Something like that, you know
Could
what I mean?
be. We don't know. He could be setting her up for some kind of fall. We don't know. We don't know what's going on yet. All we know is that him and Black Siren are in cahoots, and we'll have to see what happens with their plan as it unfolds as the season continues on.
Yeah.
Overall, didn't really do crazy much for me where I was like, oh my god. It wasn't a bad episode, but it wasn't great.
But you know what's weird? And it's interesting to really think about because it feels like, to us, seeing where the season went so far, and like you said, you were loving what they did with John taking over as the Green Arrow and stuff like that, and now we got an episode where it was like, meh, you know?
Yeah,
but I wonder if we would have felt the same if it would have still been Oliver as the Green Arrow. You know, if this episode happened at some point in season 5, or, you know what I mean? Like, if he was still Green Arrow, and none of this John shit happened, would you have felt the same way of saying, meh? Or were you just expecting more because of the new dynamic they have?
I mean, we'll never know. It's kind of just like a hypothetical.
Right, I'm saying it's interesting to think about something like that.
No, I get it, but we'll never know. And I wish that I could say there was like more that transpired in the episode, but that was really the main focus.
It was a heavy focus on Felicity.
Yeah,
and
also
Elena.
and also Oliver and Felicity trying to get their relationship back on track, but realizing there's a lot of variables involved where it's like she's part of this team, he's not. He has a child that she needs to, I like that. It's not just we're back together and everything's okay. You know what I mean? There's obstacles that we need to face here, and there's things that we need to have to deal with and everything. So that's cool too.
And also, they end up talking about what Felicity and Kurtz's startup is going to be. And Elena comes up with the idea: why don't you use your spinal implant? You know, you wanted to change the world. What better way than to give handicapped people the chance to walk again?
Yeah, especially since Palmer Tech, all those stockholders didn't want to give her the opportunity to work on that.
Right, but now that she's pretty much freelancing on her own and having a startup, she can do whatever she wants. So that seems to be where it's going. And Elena wants to work for her.
Yeah, because she's realizing that Helix may not be the best place for her, and given what's happening.
And they're going to take the name.
Yeah, because it's like, well, a bunch of hackers are the ones that are using it to begin with, so it's like, what are they going to say? Hey, that's no, it's not.
So I believe they're going to go with Helix Dynamics for the company name, and they're going to work on the spinal implant, which is nice to see, like, where that idea is going.
Yeah, and what's really exciting at the end of the episode, Oliver gets a call from Slade.
Yes!
The episode that we're all anticipating.
My favorite villain, we're going to see him next week.
I guess he's like a kind of anti-hero now, isn't he?
Yes, I cannot call him a villain anymore. My favorite,
anti-hero.
Deathstroke.
Yes. So they're going to be finding...
I thought we were going to get it on the phone, where he answers the phone, he's like, I need your help, kid.
Hey, kid, I need your help.
But we didn't. But I
can't
wait to see him next week.
Because next week we will get it. And
next week's ranking, number 1, Arrow.
they're out to find Slade's son. I mean, come on, a pairing like that, it's going to be amazing.
I just hate that he's not going to be Arrow. He's not going to be the Green Arrow. He's going to help him as Oliver.
Well, we'll see. We don't know. We just saw a couple things. We don't know. Something could force his hand.
I think I saw something where they said he was going to
help
Oliver.
Just stop.
I'm sorry.
God damn it.
I'm sorry.
Stop.
That being said, as we close up with Arrow, onto the rankings.
You first now.
Damn it. All right, fine. For the first time, I believe ever, even when we had this last season, my order of ranking is going in the order of shows. Number 1, I will give it to Supergirl. I thought it was such a great episode, and after seeing the shit that I hated for 3 weeks, we got a great episode. The dynamic was fantastic. It was such a fresh change. To have such a serious issue as religion and beliefs and faith, but have it done so nicely. It wasn't a villain of the week where she can just solve with her strength. It really was just the struggle of his beliefs versus your beliefs, and what makes his beliefs wrong to your. And it was such a great dynamic. I felt like I loved this episode so much. Of course, Alex's performance just was the cherry on top.
Yes.
Number 2, I will go Flash. Again, funny episode. Not as much as the others this season, but still the comedy was there. It was nice to be introduced to Elongated Man finally, and pretty much have it cemented that he will be
a recurring role.
Recurring role, part of the team, kind of, to see that happen. Them, fixing their past problem, and finally getting that hint at DeVoe. Now Barry knows, it's DeVoe.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Number 3, I will go Legends. It wasn't the best episode, I'd say. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best, at least that I feel like had this season. But focusing on Ray, I thought was necessary because he has kind of faded away and just been there. But it was nice to have that whole, focus on him and kind of realizing things from his childhood. And a little bit, I feel like, something brewing with him and Zari. It doesn't have to be a romance, but it's definitely a friendship, which is more than we can say about her with anybody else on the ship as of this point. And just to have that whole thing going on with them. Number 4, I will go Arrow. It was a meh episode for me. That's how I felt, and it wasn't terrible, but I feel like it wasn't the best that they've had. And seeing Caden James now and seeing the role he's playing, is he going to be the season villain? Is he not? Is this just going to be another... I forgot his name from last season. It started with him. Church? No.
Yeah, Tobias Church.
Tobias Church, yes. Is he just going to be another Tobias Church where he's the season villain, quote-unquote, for the first few episodes and then he's cut down? Like Church was by Prometheus last season? Or is he going to wait up the whole season? We don't know. But overall, it wasn't effective is the word I use. It wasn't as effective of an episode. It's still good, but it is getting my 4th spot.
Okay. Wow, my ranking is way different. All right, first I'm gonna go Legends. I just had so much fun watching this episode. Like, thinking about all the other episodes that I watched, this episode just like brought me to I literally just like forgot where I was for a good hour. And not to mention the fact that we didn't even talk about this, which was bad on our part. Professor Stein.
Yes, we forgot to mention.
Holy shit! There was a whole story arc there where he, where Jax and Mick thought that he was betraying them to the Time Masters, and it turned out
Time Bureau.
God damn it! Can I just go back in time and fix that? Fuck. So it turns out he wasn't reporting to the Time Bureau and betraying them. He was actually leaving a couple of times to go visit his daughter who's pregnant, and they actually took the Wave Rider and
at the worst
opportune time in the episode to witness the birth of his grandchild.
Yes, his grandson Ronnie.
Yes, Ronnie, which is obviously a perfect homage to the late Ronnie Raymond. And what's great about that is that they show how much, even though the Legends are his family, they're not his family home. And this is unfortunately starting the inevitable departure of Victor Garber, a.k.a. Martin Stein, from the show, because he's going to do Broadway. And he will be severely missed, because the fact that we even had somebody of his caliber in this universe is pretty fucking amazing to me.
Yeah, and Jax pretty much tells Ray, I need your help to disband Firestorm.
Yes. So, I loved just all the aspects. I had so much fun with the E.T. reference. Just put me over the moon, no pun intended. But yeah, it was just great. And then so let's go number 2. I'm gonna go Flash. I really enjoyed this episode of Flash. However, my only concern really is basically that I feel like with adding Elongated Man as a recurring role, I feel like the team already is pretty full. We let Wally go. Yeah. Julian's gone, but still Caitlin isn't getting her just due, and there's still a lot to answer for her, and I feel like she's not getting her time, so it's now we're going to add someone else into the mix. I want her to have her time because I do like the Killer Frost dynamic. But other than that, thought it was a great episode. 3rd, I will go Arrow. It was kind of an episode. At the same exact time, though, I do like how committed they are, like you said, to this whole dynamic of Oliver needing to take a backseat to everything. Yeah. And his character it's just not your time right now. You're not the Green Arrow anymore, so we shouldn't focus on you as much. Last, Supergirl. I don't like cult episodes. I try to so hard. I really do. But it just didn't work for me. What I did like was that it was a different type of villain, one that she can't really just, like we all said, she can't bang it out with her fists. Right. And that's cool. And I like that dynamic. But for the episode's duration, I was kind of just okay. But Alex's scene was amazing. I like the emotion that was evoked from Charlotte. Her performance made me enjoy the episode. Yeah. It brought it to life for me.
But not enough to give it
a higher spot. Not enough to give it a higher ranking by any means. No, I'm very sorry. I mean, believe me, I do enjoy my Supergirl. But
so my first is your last.
Yes.
And yes, it's Supergirl.
Yes,
that is amazing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's just the way it is so far.
But yeah, those are our rankings for this week. Comment below what you thought of the episodes and where you put your rankings and the revelations we found out about Ralph Dibny and Jax wanted to get rid of Firestorm. All these lovely things. If you like what we had to say, like the video, of course.
And also, guys, subscribe.
Subscribe to catch more of these podcasts every week. But until then, I'm Anthony.
I'm Manny.
And we'll see you next time. Later.
Deuces.